So, fight for every yard's our theme. You know, that pro tack system ended up giving us a lot of new stuff. So we started thinking, all right, well, how else do we incorporate that theme? And we thought, like, it's also the emotion of that fight for every yard, right? So, you know, the fight at the goal line or at the 1 yard, third and one, fourth and one type of thing. So we said, all right, well, we know we've got to get the chain gang back and the referees. So those weren't in Next Gen before, you know, if you knew. So we added all 7 referees back. They have full AI. They can be collided with. They can be run into, which is always hilarity. The chain gang guys are back on the field as well. Nope. Yeah. And so those guys actually come out and measure, you know, for the short yardage measurement. So again, just a nice suspenseful moment that we haven't really been able to do. And being the fight for every yard's our focus, we got to make sure that decision is actually a suspenseful one, you know. So then the other big thing for us was, I said, the little things for us. So authenticity, huge, you know, we're the only game in town, we're the NFL game, we got to do everybody right. I mean, I think our art director just kind of said it best where he says, everyone on this field is probably someone's favorite player. If we mess them up, I mean, that cheapens the game for them. If we have something, little detail wrong, like I can just go in and look at Roethlisberger, for example. He has his number single digit in the stripe on the helmet, whereas other teams have it over to the right. So it's like, if you miss that detail, and it's in a screenshot, a fan's going to be upset. So there's a lot of other little details going on. You can see the towels are actually in, animating as well. The refs are there. You've got like Super Bowl specific sideline colors and stuff, as well as end zones. So something we just haven't have. It used to say generic like NFC, AFC. It's kind of a bummer. When you zoom down tight on the players, whoop, what do I got here? You can even see they wear the Super Bowl patch of the game that they're playing in. So we really went overboard on some of the stuff, you know. But like I said, it's just such a small amount of detail that you really got to make sure you don't miss anything. We added hand warmers as well. You know, those are pretty cool in cold games. And then I think the key graphical detail that just steps out right away is depth of field. We did like a huge blog on how it all worked implementation-wise and stuff, but I think when you look at a shot like this is kind of typically what our Madden game has looked like. It's really hard to tell who your focus is, what you're looking at, but when we actually start using real depth of field, you can get guys in and out of focus. And it really helps kind of separate your foreground from background. The thing that's really cool to me about it, too, is that I think other games have had where you just blur everything behind the subject. This actually does near foreground and background blurring. And it's just like a real system. You know, you don't even have to tune any numbers or knobs or anything. You just basically do the camera like you would in real life, and it automatically does depth of field. It's helped our screenshots look great, you know, I think without a doubt. It helps our post-play cameras and pre-play cameras really look broadcast. That's always been difficult to, like, if you want a lens that's at the other end of the stadium looking at a guy, zoomed in really tight, it's just really busy. There's tons of stuff around it, but with depth of field, it blurs all that out and you have your one key focus point. It is cool to see a guy come actually drill the pile. That's a mechanic that we didn't even think about that kind of just came up organically, is that you can go tackle a guy, then switch and come in and hit him harder with the other defender, you know. So that was something we weren't even really willing to, didn't even think would happen, and it came up out of nowhere. So the concept right now is going to be that there's some sort of button mechanic to fight for the fumble once it happens. As you can see there, that transition wasn't smooth at all, and that's what we're kind of figuring out now, is how does it, you know, when do you want this to trigger? It needs to be very rare, but also still something cool. I mean, when we play tested it, it's actually come off really well. People enjoy that, you know, little mini game that happens. It's something you're not expecting. It happens like once a game, you know. But it is something that's very core to football, is the fight for the fumble down at the bottom of the pile. So you can see right now these buttons would come up. Let's see if I can get to. Yeah, so these buttons would change for each team, and it's kind of like a tug of war in between each guy. But we're just still kind of in progress, seeing how it's going to work out. So we like the concept. We just don't know how implementation-wise how it's going to work out. But the ref runs in, pulls the guy off the pile, the meter drops out, and it's still kind of a fight. And then he determines at the very last second who ends up winning it back and forth. So it's just going to be delicate balance.